Okay, so here we go. We're going to start with the first fundamental, which is individual posture. So the things that we need to be aware of here are that when we are standing, we must stand with our feet underneath our hips and ribs and clavicle in line. Okay, so that means that we're not standing this way. I'm exaggerating a little bit, right? Because I don't think any of us would really do this. But we want to make sure that our hip bones are over our ankles, our hip bones and ribs and clavicle are in one line. So you want to stand up straight here. When you look at the side view here, you should see that I'm not leaning in towards Serena. I'm standing straight up and down over my own feet, right? Once I get into the team posture, this can be a problem if I'm leaning, right? So learning how to stand up straight is very important. And we don't do this very often throughout the day. We're often at the coffee shop and we're standing in line, or we're waiting for somebody else and we're here. We're always usually, most of the time we're in one hip or the other, right? So very rarely do we stand this way. So this is going to free your legs up to move underneath you much easier than if you're standing a little bit crooked, forward, or back. Okay, so that's individual posture. The team posture, when Serena and I face each other, notice that again, we bring our individual posture to the team. Okay, I will lift up my hand and give her the web of my hand up to the ceiling. So I'm giving her that so that she can perch her fingers in between there, and then we close lightly. Not tight, right? We want to be careful not to hold the lady's hands too tight here, gentlemen. It is a light connection, okay? Now, from here, I'm going to take my cuff and put it right at the junction of where her arm and her side meet. So I'll come right up and under here, and I'll apply a slight amount of pressure, not a lot. It's really important not to push up too hard on her, because that's going to be hard on you and her, and you can see that it's kind of ruining our posture already, isn't it? So I want to make sure that I come up and under and place my hand right here on her shoulder blade, okay? From here, ladies, you're going to put your hand on the gentleman's I guess this is the deltoid area, right? So right where the bicep and the deltoid intersect, right there, is where you'll want to put your hand, okay? We're going to keep this clean for now. So what I mean by that is that we're not going to be getting into something like we would maybe get to later when we start dancing. We're going to keep it what I call a scholastic approach to the dance frame while you're taking the lessons. Later, of course, you can kind of get the frame a little bit more relaxed, but it's going to be really important to know that you've got to keep that frame in position right here until you learn how to do this effectively. Then you can drop them down and have a bit of a more relaxed frame together, all right? So remember, it may be tempting and your arms might get tired, so you might start drooping here, but for now it's important that you keep the arms up. That way you can diagnose any problems along the way, all right? So there's part of our team posture. The rest of it is that we must give some sort of resistance and tone in the arms so that you can make the team a team. Okay, so if I have one hand here and one hand here and they're both over here, they're not unified until I actually press them together. Now they can move together, right? Makes sense, right? So I can move them up and down, I can move them here. They're moving together. So whenever I bring our bodies together here and our connections, it's important that I know that I have to move her through my spine. This is part of team posture. It's going to be part of movement as well. But for now, you can see that I'm moving her and I'm leading her, gentlemen, right? So we're here. I'm moving my hips, not really moving from the top, okay? I'm not yanking her with my arms. Can you see that? I will move my center of gravity right here. I will move my center of gravity around the base of my feet, and she'll follow that. So gentlemen, a lot of times when we get into position, we'll try and manipulate it through the arms, because that's how we go through life as well. If we want something, we grab it, we pull it. So it's important to know that when you're leading her, you must do it from the center of gravity, which is just a little bit below your belt buckle. Okay, so right through here, whenever I want to move, I move that. So you can see that I'm moving in a small little circle here, right? And ladies, what you're doing here is you're kind of investing your shoulders into your back So it feels like you're kind of holding two heavy suitcases, right? You drop them, you pick your arms up, and you maintain the integrity in the back. And that's the same for you, gentlemen, too, right? So that when we have that feeling here, we unify, and it feels really connected. Okay? I'm going to give you a different view. So we're here, and you can see that I'm moving my center of gravity around my feet, and that's giving us movement. Now remember, so you can see that this is even movement. The minute that I start trying to manipulate the lady gentleman from the top, it starts to look like it's a struggle, isn't it, right? You can see immediately that we're not moving together anymore. Her reaction time is going to be much, much later than I want, right? Anytime that I pull or push through the arms, it's no good. But if I use my center of gravity, puller and pusher, you can see how unified our movement is. I'm not really doing a whole lot, and she doesn't feel like I'm pulling and pushing her. I am actually leading her at this point, right? But the minute that I pull and push her, I'm going to get a bad reaction. And if you want a second dance with somebody out at the clubs, this is not the way to get it, all right? So that wraps it up. Let's talk about the last one, which is movement. When we're ready to move, all we need to do is, we've kind of talked about it already, right? About moving your center of gravity. So gentlemen, this is how you start and initiate leading, okay? So whenever I'm moving, just like the demonstration that I gave you here, once we unified our frames together, right? Once I'm ready to go, gentlemen, what I need to do is move my center of gravity in the direction I want to go into, right? So this is movement. So you can see that I'm moving. I want her to go back. I'm going to go forward. As soon as I'm ready to go, I'm going to move my center of gravity across my feet, and that will help her open and it'll help her know where she's going to go, and then she'll open up her leg because of that. Okay? So we have 4 directions when we talk about movement: forward, back, side, and side. And your center of gravity has everything to do with how you get there. All right? So I'm going forward, she's going back. Okay? I'm going to go back, she's going to go forward. I'm going to lead her sideways, and you're going to see my center of gravity moving sideways, right? So I'm going to go and give you a different look here. I'm going to separate us just a little bit so you can see my center of gravity. This is sideways. And you can see that I'm getting ready to move her sideways here. Side and side. Or the other direction, side and side. Okay? So you can see through these fundamentals how one actually starts building the partnership. Right? So one has the next thing to do with the other one. Okay? So it kind of like ties it all together. If you can accomplish this just standing there together doing this, it'll help you when you get to the basic steps.